these things. That's why I asked.
Oh, isn't it exciting?
Isn't what exciting, Victoria?
Haven't you heard?
Heard what?
About the professor.
The sooner Professor Burns leaves Tumbleweed, the better it will be for us all. Not unless he takes back a good report. The mayor is giving him a personally guided tour to town. What there is of it.
That's not what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about then?
The professor isn't a professor at all.
That's hardly news, Victoria. The professor's title is part of his incognito. You heard the sheriff. That's how Pinkerton agents work.
He's not a Pinkerton agent.
Nonsense. Not a Pinkerton agent?
No!
You don't mean he actually is a medicine show huckster?
Oh, no, of course. He has been sent from Boston to investigate Tumbleweed, all right. But he ain't a Pinkerton man.
Not a Pinkerton man. And not a medicine show huckster. Then who is he?
Oh, you're gonna love this. He's John Prescott's nephew.
Nephew?
Oh, I thought I'd surprise you. He's the heir to a huge fortune. And he's a bachelor. It's a lucky girl who lands him.
Indeed. I've noticed him looking at Julie more than once. How do you know it's true?
Because he told my husband, and Harry told everyone else. By now the whole town knows.
My daughter, Mrs. Thomas Burns of Boston, Massachusetts. It has such a nice ring to it. Don't you think Julie will have something to say about it? Julie's too young to know her own mind.
Mother knows best. Ottilie, Antoinette!
Here we are, Mama.
Behind you. I want you girls to go home and put ribbons in your hair.
Why?
Ottilie's birthday isn't until next month.
I'm not talking about Ottilie's birthday. I want you both to look your best, Professor Burns.
Professor Burns?
Who cares about him?
Even if he is a Pinkerton agent.
He's not a Pinkerton agent. He's a rich man of quality and refinement.
Since when?
Get rid of those lollipops. Don't giggle when you see him, and each of you can go home and put a few squirts of perfume on.
Perfume? You've never let us use perfume before.
You said we couldn't use perfume until we were older.
You're old enough. Now run along.
Oh boy, perfume!
Don't drop the bottle, and please don't forget the ribbons.
The very idea.
What?
You know what? You're trying to fluff up those frumps in the hopes Professor Burns will take notice. You're hoping to marry one of them all.
As a mother, I want my daughters to marry well.
And by well, you mean the nephew of John Prescott. For shame! Those girls are still children. Even if they had been in the 8th grade for 4 years.
They're only. And besides, my mother was married when she was only 13.
And look at the result.
How old was Juliet when she planned to marry Romeo?
Romeo who?
Shakespeare?
Oh, Romeo Shakespeare. I'd forgotten for a moment.
You're a terrible teacher, Uncle Crabtree.
I do the best I can, considering there's no roof on the school.
Hey, whose fault is that? I better go help the girls with the ribbons. They're rather clumsy when it comes to fashion.
You can dress up a monkey, but it's still a monkey. That is a surprise, though, the nephew of John Prescott. I hope your husband can convince him all's well in Tumbleweed. He's bound to notice not much has been built. Who cares about things like that? He'll make the ideal husbands for Julie. He sure had us fooled. He'll take Julie back to Boston. My husband and I will send them off to culture. Culture! If I was you, I wouldn't put the cart before the horse, wouldn't hatch my chickens until I counted them, and wouldn't build a bridge until I came to it. Who cares about her? There's so much to do. Romance, romance. Romance always needs a push. Miss Baywater and Miss Baywater, out for a stroll, seeing the town.
There's not much to see here, is there?
Come back in a year or two, and you'll see a big change in Tumbleweed.
Any change would be an improvement.
I'm urging my husband and the town engineer to build an opera house. I consider myself the town's leading social force. I sing, you know. I have quite a voice. but I'm sure you've heard all the great voices. Living in Baltimore. Some. How I envy you.
We've been looking for the stagecoach driver everywhere.
Have you tried the hospital? Couldn't get near the front door. Barking dogs everywhere.
I'm afraid of fleas.
Oh, you poor thing. Don't you worry. Gus will turn up.
Someone mentioned my name?
There you are. Here are your passengers.
It's almost noon.
Yup, I reckon it is.
You said we'd leave first thing this morning?
Can't leave till the blacksmith says the wheel's fixed.
When will that be?
I figure about 4 in the afternoon.
We have to wait 4 more hours in this backwater? I mean, backwater?
It's either that or walking before drive up. I wouldn't advise it. If the scorpions don't get you, the rattlesnake will.
How awful!
Don't you fret, Miss Baywater, and Miss Baywater, come back to the hotel with me. We'll have tea, and I would love to hear news from Baltimore.
So would I.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. That is why.
She may have once had a voice, but she lost it somewhere along the way.
You have to admire Miranda. She don't yodel so good, but she's persistent. Stage leaves at 4.
Why did our sister have to marry a man living in the Wild West?
He's got so much on his mind.
You mean that Pinkerton man from Boston?
Haven't you heard? He's not a Pinkerton man from Boston. He's not a Pinkerton man at all. He's John Prescott's nephew.
You don't say.
Living here all this time, never letting on. Now that's incognito.
They're waiting to speak with the professor.
Who's waiting?
Your relatives. They're in the dining room.
I'm sure you'll agree, these things take time.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Well, look.
It's your father. Now's as good a time as any. I'll take the bull of Tumbleweed by the horns.
Oh, I'm so worried.
You trot along, sweetheart. I'll deal with your father man to man.
You mean desert rats and mayor?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being an honest desert rat.
Oh, try not to quarrel.
There have been problems, naturally.
Oh.
People went to see you in the dining room, Professor.
Who?
Mr. Dobbs, Doc Snipes, the Undertaker.
Tell them to wait.
They won't like it.
You heard me.
You're the boss.
Mayor Oates, I'd like a word with you.
What's the matter with you, Luther? Can't you see I'm busy? Sit over here, Professor. Let me fluff you a pillow. Comfy?
He'll do.
I'm sorry about her expected. I've been meaning to get rid of him. He's been getting ornery.
I thought you said the chickens didn't belong to you.
They don't. I've been keeping them for a sick friend.
Chickens in the jailhouse and dogs running around in the hospital. It does seem a bit odd.
Mayor Oates, this won't take long.
What, you still here? Show some consideration.
The blueprints Mr. Doc showed me are quite impressive, but I don't see the buildings. You mustn't forget my uncle has been sending you money for several years now, long enough for a small metropolis to blossom.
I was hoping to spare you this.
We both were.
I would have said something to your uncle, but at his advanced age, I feared the worst.
Heart attack? Stroke? Who could say? Shock would have been considerable.
What is it?
The truth is, we've lost much of the money sent on by your dear uncle.
Lost.
Not in the way you might think. Not through mismanagement, that sort of thing.
Then how did you lose it?
The Kansas City Kid.
Mayor Oates, about my license for a game of chance.
I'm working on it, day and night. However, you will have to pay me the additional fee. Paperwork is expensive.
But I've paid you so much already.
A mere detail. Women never understand these matters. We'll discuss it later, Mr. Lilac.
Do I get that license, or don't I?
You'll get that license when you pay me the additional fee. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have more important matters to deal with.
The mayor has business with the professor.
In that case, I'll leave you to your business. I hope things are going well, Professor Burns.
You might say that I'm making progress.
Good.
Who's this Kansas City Kid?
He's a notorious outlaw. A bandit. A highway.
Are you telling me this Kansas City Kid has taken money intended for Tumbleweed?
I'm afraid so.
Why don't you arrest him?
He's not easy to catch. He's like a whirlwind when he strikes.
Usually, he waits for the stagecoach, but not always.
The mayor has put up a reward.
My own money.
What's he look like?
Nobody knows. Always wears a bandana to cover his face, and a hat pulled low over his eyes.
We could have had Tumbleweed completed long ago if it wasn't for the Kansas City Kid.
You should have informed my uncle. He would have sent in federal marshals.
That's the last thing I wanted to happen. It would undermine his faith in my capabilities.
No federal marshals in Tumbleweed. That's my motto.
But you can't allow this Kansas City Kid wandering in and out, robbing and taking what doesn't belong to him.
We'll deal with it. We just wanted you to know why things were progressing so slowly.
This is serious. My hands are dirty. I must have soiled them when I picked up that litter of puppies. I'll wash them if you don't mind. I have a thing about dirty hands.
Don't be afraid to use as many hand towels as you like. They're borrowed.
Mayor Oates, it's about me and Miss
Quiet. Can't hear myself think.
What was all that foolishness about somebody called the Kansas City Kid? Never heard of him.
That's not surprising, considering the Kansas City Kid don't exist.
You folks is eavesdropping?
Of course. Shh. We don't want him to overhear. Sheriff, go stand guard.
To me.
It's a brilliant idea, if I do say so myself.
The idea is okay. I'm not so sure he believed you.
Saying this Kansas City Kid has stolen Tumbleweed money doesn't prove it.
Yes.
I've already considered the possibility that the professor might be suspicious about the Kansas City Kid. So the Kansas City Kid will make an appearance.
What? Shh. Be quiet.
He will rob the strong box, and Professor Burns will be here to see him do it.
But there is no Kansas City Kid.
There will be. We'll draw straws. Whoever gets the long straw will impersonate the Kansas City Kid.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad. It's a stroke of genius. Naturally, I cannot draw, and neither can the sheriff, since it has to be someone he's not too familiar with. Draw. Who's got the long straw?
I do.
Opal Crabtree is the Kansas City kid? No way.
That won't work.
I'm willing.
That's not the point. It has to look convincing.
Opal won't look convincing. She never looks convincing.
Who's got the next longest straw?
Merciful stars, I do.
You're the Kansas City kid, Gilroy.
Me, but I'm a mortician and an undertaker.
You're also the Kansas City kid.
But I wouldn't know what to do or how to do it. No.
You drew the straw.
Or it.
Go outside and get ready.
I won't do it, I tell you.
Oh, you'll do it.
Impossible, I tell you. I'd be too scared.
He's coming back.
I'm afraid of guns. I don't want to shoot. I don't like loud noises. I never really get to city. I can't afford to make this run up.
Don't argue with me, Julie. I've made up my mind. I don't want to marry Professor Burns. We'll talk about that later. First things first, sit down and look fetching. We must break the trap. And don't call him Professor. Call him Tom or Tommy.
Where's the mayor?
Tom, there you are. Julie and I were just discussing you. Oh, you have no idea how she admires you.
She does.
Oh, she's always talking about you.
She is.
Men seldom notice these things. What a pity you never married. I always say a man without a wife is a sad creature, no better than a lonely coyote howling at the moon. Fortunately, there are ways to rescue him.
The coyote?
The bachelor, Tom.
How are you gonna rescue him?
Marriage. Marriage, Tom.
You wanna marry me?
Such wit. Did you hear what Tommy said, Julie?
I heard.
You and Julie must get to know one another better. Would it be all right if I went into the apartment? I need a few things.
Be my guest.
Julie, why are you sitting so far from Tom? I think you don't like him. She's a shy little thing.
So are you enjoying your stay here in Tumbleweed, Professor? Tom.
I can honestly say that my stay is turning out to be quite profitable.
You may not realize it, but my mother's throwing me at you, and I don't like it. When I marry, I would marry for love.
Marrying for love is a pretty good idea.
If you'll excuse me.
Julie! Julie, come back this minute! No!
I hope it wasn't anything I said.
These modern girls, what do they know about anything? Oh, if I were only 10 years younger and unmarried, I'd search for a rich, cultured young man just like you.
I am cultured.
Oh, you're full of culture, I can tell.
Rich.
I never hold that against a man.
Young.
To be young again.
I've always admired women who sing.
Oh, Professor, please, you make me blush.
How unfortunate you're not a widow. Otherwise, you and I, who knows?
Oh, Professor! You're pulling my leg.
No, I'm not.
Tease.
Could I have a word with you, Professor? In fact, we'd all like to have a word with you. In private.
Oh, well, I can take a hint. No one has to hit me with a hammer. Ignore Julie's little outburst, Tom. She's always been emotional, but her feeling for you is genuine. I've never been to Boston.
The pillow's too soft. I like a stiff back chair. What others are you talking about, Mr. Dobbs?
Lawyer Maxwell, Doc Snaps, Amos, and Miss Crabtree.
I'll listen to them one at a time. I don't like people bunching up.
Of course. Understand. When you give report to Boston to your uncle, I was wondering if you could put in a good word for me. Mention my blueprints. Hint that my work is progressing. Well, how shall I put it? Beautifully.
That's something of an overstatement, isn't it? What's this?
That's not mine.
Just money on the table. What should I do with it?
It must be yours. Why don't you put it in your pocket?
Why don't I? Send in Lawyer Maxwell.
My pleasure.
Short and to the point.
How wonderful you're alone.
Appears that way. What can I do for you?
I wouldn't want Mayor Oates Oates or his wife when I spoke with you.
Be brief. Others are waiting.
Please tell your uncle something must be done about the mayor's wife.
Miranda?
All the other merchants in Tumbleweed feel the same way. She takes things, so does the mayor.
They're thieves?
They don't steal merchandise exactly. They borrow things. Sometimes they forget to return them. Whenever the mayor's wife comes into my shop, I have to hide all the good stuff. Otherwise, she'll want to borrow it. There's no profit when people borrow instead of buy. If only our uncle back in Boston would do something about the situation.
I'll see what I can do.
I need Beezy to talk with.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm a busy man. Busy. Next!
You're a good man, I can tell.
I suppose you discovered the fact that I was disbarred in Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
Still, I'm an expert when it comes to shuffling papers and delaying things. It would be a shame if Tumbleweed lost my services. Not many lawyers like the desert life. If you neglected to mention my lack of credentials to your uncle in the letter, I would be most grateful. How does 400 sound?
500 would sound a lot better.
500 it is. It'll leave me broke, but it's in a good cause.
I'll see the doc next.
I'll tell him.
Oh, Professor, we were asking such a beauty solver just this minute on the boardwalk. Please invite my lovely daughters, Angeline and Antoinette. Say hello to the professor, girls.
Hello, Professor.
This is lovely Angeline. And this is her daughter.
Let me guess. Lovely. Antoinette.
I told you not to giggle.
Oh, Ma, that hole.
What's that smell?
It's perfume.
Ma said to go heavy on the squirts.
I'm allergic to perfume.
It's not easy to find bows and tumbleweed for my girls. Suitable bachelors are few and far between. And, well,
I thought you were alone, Professor.
I am.
I see you are busy, Professor. We won't waste any more of your time.
Time is money.
I would like to invite you to dinner this evening.
We're having rice pudding for dessert.
With raisins.
You can have seconds if you want.
I'll let you know.
That is a definite yes. Say thank you, Professor Girls. Thank you, Professor Girls. Aren't they adorable?
I wish you had two more just like them.
I'd be careful of them females, Professor. Marrying fever's in the air. I'm a direct man, so I'll come directly to the point. I may have a diploma as a horse doctor, but all a doctor has to do in this town is pull teeth and spoon castor oil. I'd like to keep my job. Know what I mean?
I think I do.
How's 500 sound?
600 would sound better.
600! It's all I have, but say no more.
You do understand I consider this merely a, how shall I put it, a loan. Yes, that's what this is, a loan.
I think we understand one another. You're a pleasure to do business with, Professor.
Busy. Send in the postmaster.
Amos!
I've been waiting for a moment like this for a long time, Professor.
How so?
A moment to speak to you without the whole town listening.
So has everyone else.
I know that post office ain't run as thick as it might, but you see, I've had problems.
So have I. That's why the school has never had a graduate. I'd appreciate it if your uncle never found out about that.
Oh, and please don't tell him I read other people's mail.
I hope you two won't find me too bold, but I was wondering if you could extend me a loan. As you know, I was stranded in Tumbleweed without funds.
Poor man.
Here, it's all I have.
No small change if you don't mind. Folding money only.
Whatever you say. You're the professor.
Why don't you come into the dining room? We'll have a glass of sarsaparilla.
That sounds nice. I'll be along in a moment as long as you're buying.
Looks good.
Looks great. Oh, Lily, you have no idea. They can't wait to bribe me. They think everyone's as crooked as they are. They keep tripping over each other to give me money. Their last pennies. See?
I'm impressed.
Another day or two and we'll be rich as King Midas. And that's good because I don't have a big brother in San Francisco. I don't have a big brother anywhere.
Staying could be dangerous, and we mustn't push our luck. We'll be on the stage when it pulls out.
I suppose you're right. The mayor's got plenty of money in a desk drawer. I'll take that too.
I'll pack. Can you believe it? Mayor Oates tried to hold me up again. Greedy man.
They're all greedy. What will they say when they see me on the stagecoach? I know. I'll tell them I have to investigate another town. That way they won't be suspicious.
Good thinking. Time's getting short.
Looks like a dust storm on the horizon.
There. I meant to tell you. I'll be leaving Tumbleweed soon.
Leaving? Oh, that is hard news. Everybody in here, please.
What's up, man?
Hush up, hush up. I just wanted to let you all know that the professor will be leaving us soon.
I'm afraid the mayor misunderstood. I'm not leaving Tumbleweed for good. I have to visit another town on my uncle's behalf, but I'll be back in Tumbleweed in about a week.
That is good news. Julie will be so pleased.
Stand and deliver! Everybody, keep calm. It's the Oklahoma kid.
Who?
The Kansas City kid.
The Kansas City kid! Where's the strong box? I know it came in on the stage. Don't try to deny it.
It's in the safe behind the registration desk.
Obadiah, do something!
You do something, Miranda. Give him the strong box.
Somebody get the sheriff. Where's the sheriff?
Give him the strong box! The strong box or I start spitting hot lead. It's up to you, old lady.
Old lady! Yes, anything to say. Don't shoot.
Running out of patience. Now, step back. You two. I want everybody to count to 10 before you move. I said count to 10!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Professor, you all right?
I never expected anything like this.
Oh, that Kansas City kid is wicked.
One day he'll go too far.
Let's form a posse and get him!
Now you see what I have to contend with, Professor.
We'll bring him to justice.
We'll take some time, that's all.
Stagecoach leaving in 10 minutes. Next stop, Dead Man's Gulch.
I wish I could stay and discuss the bandit, but I'm afraid there's no time.
I gotta make up for a lost day.
I believe Lily Lilac is leaving.
First I've heard of it. Good riddance, I say. Gambling always brings bad luck.
Someone tell the Baywaters is that time's a wasting.
I'll do it.
10 minutes.
I'll have to hurry. See you in a week or so.
He's gone.
Could have gone better.
I didn't know Gilroy had it in him.
Gilroy, what's the matter with you all? We've just been robbed!
Nothing's the matter. I'll explain it to you later.
Nothing's the matter. Have you lost your senses?
If I didn't know it was Gilroy under that shirt and bandana, I never would have guessed.
Did you see the professor dive for cover?
Like a kangaroo rat hitting a burrow.
Oh,
Hands up. Don't know where to go. This is a stick up. I'm the Kansas City kid and I mean business.
huh?
Where's that money from Boston?
Huh?
Give it up.
Huh?
What's this?
Oh, I knew it wouldn't work. I don't feel so well.
Harry, you've ruined everything.
2 Kansas City kids?
How is that possible?
Gilroy needed help, and I supplied it. What do you mean, 2 Kansas City kids?
Well, he was in here a few moments ago, and he stole the strong box.
Who?
The first Kansas City kid.
That's not possible.
Why isn't it?
Because the Kansas City kid don't exist.
All right, but if that is the case, then who took the strong box?
I thought I recognized the kid.
Which one?
The first one, the one who took the strong box. I thought he handled himself too good to be Gilroy.
I resent that.
If you think you know who the bandit is, tell us.
Yeah,
See for yourself.
Luther!
That's right, Luther. Luther the prospector. Luther the desert rat.
And now I see you're Luther the bandit. I'm not surprised. Well, aren't you ashamed of yourself?
I heard you and the sheriff plotting, Mayor Oates. I heard your little scheme to create a bandit called the Kansas City Kid. So I thought I'd beat you to the punch. The strongbox from Boston is in safe hands. Mine.
Who gives you the right to steal something that doesn't belong to you?
Perhaps it would help matters if I introduced myself properly.
Why bother?
We all know who you are.
You only think you do. I'm Luther John Prescott III of Boston. John Prescott is my grandfather.
Luther, can this be true?
I've never told a lie in my life, Miss Julie, and I don't intend to start now. I'm an agent sent to investigate Tumbleweed incognito.
There's that word again.
I feel like Sleeping Beauty waking from a dream. You mean John Prescott sent his grandson and his nephew?
You can't be John Prescott's grandson. The idea is absurd.
Luther's been out in the sun too long. Posing as a prospector was the best way to see things as they really are in Tumbleweed.
Miranda's right, it's absurd. You're not related to John Prescott.
I am.
Luther Prescott? Imagine seeing you here in Tumbleweed. How delightful. How special.
Huh? You know this hombre?
Of course we do. He's Luther John Prescott III of the Boston Prescotts. I thought I recognized you before, but I couldn't quite place you in that ridiculous prospector getup. What on earth are you doing here, Luther?
I'm on a mission for grandfather.
How is dear John?
Old.
All aboard.
Oh, what a pity we have to leave. We're visiting our sister at Fort Drywell. When you see your dear old grandfather, give him my best.
I'll be happy to, Miss Baywater. And Miss Baywater.
Until we meet again, Luther. Au revoir.
Au revoir, Miss Baywater and Miss Baywater.
Au revoir. Au revoir. Au revoir. Au revoir. Au revoir.
Adios.
Well, I've always said Luther had a lot of potential. Haven't I always said that, Julie?
Luther and the professor relatives? I never would have guessed. Professor is no relationship of mine.
What? But he's working for your grandfather.
Incognito!
I wish you stopped saying that. I can assure you, the professor is not working for my grandfather.
But I gave him all the money I had.
At first we thought he was a Pinkerton man.
Then he said he was John Prescott's nephew.
He lied.
I gave him several $100s.
So did I.
My friends, you've been swindled by the proprietor of a medicine show. He was strictly snake oil.
Who said he was a Pinkerton man? You? This is all you're doing.
It wasn't me. It was him.
No, it wasn't.
It was her.
That's better. Now listen closely, all of you. There'll have to be some changes around here. You'll have to work hard for the money that you've taken so unfairly. Mayor, you and your wife can still run the hotel, but for a tiny salary. And there'll have to be no more borrowing from the town merchants. Lawyer Maxwell, you can be a law clerk when a real lawyer shows up. You can be a handyman at the hospital, Dr. Snipes, when a real doctor arrives. Amos, you'll have to stop reading other people's mail. You can be a teacher's assistant when a real teacher that actually knows things shows up. And Mr. Dobbs, you can start to make amends by digging irrigation ditches.
And what if we refuse.
I refuse to be anyone's assistant.
I refuse to dig a ditch. If you refuse, I'll advise my grandfather to send in a federal marshal to sort things out.
Luther, you're gonna make this town come alive.
You can count on it, Julie. We'll change the name of this town to Prescott in honor of my grandfather. When people, years from now, talk about how the territorial capital got its name, don't hesitate to relate this story of redemption and progress.
Redemption and progress. Oh, Luther.
Julie,